Hello everyone and welcome to today's trading session. Today is 8th of March 2024 and something important to note, as you can see here, this price move, we had NFP releases. So I do assume that today's price action is going to be quite difficult, quite tough. I think it could be avoided to preserve the capital, and just because I already had 4 winning days in a row, I think it's not that good to push for more. But there are some things that I might favor in the market. There might be a good setup that I can take, but for sure today my leverage is gonna be only 3 micros, and I will not strike for more. So with that being said, only 3 micros. I'm going to take only one setup. And I actually believe that the trade that I'm going to take today is going to be a losing trade, because I don't think the conditions will be that good. I already reviewed something in the price action when it swept the sell side liquidity, ran up. It didn't take the buy side liquidity yet. We had a low created here, then another low, which swept this one. We respected the 50% of this fair value gap at 830. And we had a small imbalance over here that we could potentially take along, and that trade would be profitable, where I would probably scale out most of it over here, because I was favoring that we will sweep the all-time high that we have made it's this week's Monday. So I was believing that we will sweep this high, which we have not yet, and yesterday on ES we had new all-time high, so I believe that NASDAQ will follow today and will reach higher. So there was a good potential in my opinion to take, but I was not in front of the charts yet. So it's also easy for me to say in hindsight, but let's see what we can find today. I didn't yet mark up anything. I just sat in front of the charts. I just opened it. So I will need to start looking through everything and see what I can find interesting in the market so far. So I'm confused why the chart looks like this. Okay, so we probably are going into a new contract. Let me check that right now. So on this site, you can check based on the contract, NASDAQ, this one. So we are currently trading in this one for March, and the open interest and volume is this one. So we are still not yet going in the next one, but I'm not sure why the ES looks so different. I thought that we are going into the next contract, but doesn't seem like. Okay, I'm actually looking at the chart that there is a possibility to go short, but I don't want to do it. I will just read the market right now, and if there will be anything that is really good, then just unfortunately it's gone. So I'm looking at the 1 hour chart, and it seems that for some reason it's completely destroyed. Okay, now it isn't. So there was such a huge gap? No way. So maybe that's why I thought it's because it was missing. So wait, let me put ESH 2024, because I'm on the continuous contract with the exclamation mark. So over here it looks fine on an ESH March contract 2024. But I don't know if I go here, it's so bad. Okay, so for now I will go back to this one. I will not use the continuous contract. But I need to add it here, ESH 2024. So we will have some technical issues right now, but that's fine. Okay, so let's start from the higher time frame and let's see what we have here. So we have no fair value gap here. We have this fair value gap which we repriced entirely and went to the previous one from Thursday 2000 from the 22nd Thursday of 2024, February, sorry. So we have a small imbalance here, but the day is not yet done, so we don't know what can happen, but for sure I'm going to mark it at least so we are aware of it. I'm gonna say daily fair value gap. So I'm now seeing that the trade would actually be already profitable. But actually I'm favoring longs today. I'm not sure if I would want to go short. But there was opportunity. On the 4 hour, there's a big spike. We didn't quite get into this fair value gap even on the 4 hour chart. So that's something that market can navigate in. Looking at the 1 hour, we've also at the same place a fair value gap. So this might be an interesting point where market can draw to. Okay. On the 15-minute chart, we are trading in this big BC. On the downside, we have a few inefficiencies over here. It's quite weird to me to see the chart so naked. So this is sell side liquidity, which we had from the higher time frame. This is a really good liquidity pool. But I'm not sure if that's where we will draw today. I think it's very far. This is another one. So I will note that. On the 1 hour chart, we have this daily fair value gap, so that's something I will leave here. And also many fair value gaps here, but there are so many of them also on the 4 hour chart that I just don't want to mark all of them yet. In case the market will be dropping, I will just mark them afterwards just to see where it can go further. But for now, it's not that important for me to just have everything highlighted on the downside, because this is on the ES 80 handle, so for sure I don't think we will get that in today. On the 5 minute, we have here a nice gap. Oops. This is a good fair value gap where we can draw to 5 minute fair value gap BC. And also I maybe can mark the 50% of this wick. Could be also an important level. And this is the all-time high right now on ES. So where it can go further, it's tough for me to say. I mean, for sure you can use some standard deviations, but that's not something that I'm using. So I will not check that because I don't always know what can I expect from the market, how far it can go. But yeah, this is from yesterday's PM session, which was swept. Then we went to the upside, making new all-time high on ES, and now is retracing lower. So let's go back to NQ. And here I will need to also adjust a lot of the things. So I'm trying to see, I think these fair value gaps I will delete because for me they are already repriced. New opening gap I will leave here, that's important. I was thinking that we might get a new day opening gap, which we can see over here. I tend to mark it like this. So this is a new day opening gap, which could be important also for today. Right now we are trading inside a new week opening gap. So on the daily chart, we actually, or sorry, on the weekly chart, we can see we only wicked down into this down close candle, respecting the 50% of it. And now it's trying to, I assume it will go higher during this session or during this day. We have still this fair value gap here. I have it marked with these lines, but actually I have the CB marked, not the BC. So let me even rephrase this. This is gonna be BC. Okay. When it comes to the opening range, this is not important anymore. I think this is too far. So let me just delete some of these markings. I will leave the sell side liquidity here because I think that's important level. This is another sell side liquidity pool. And this also is an important sell side liquidity pool. Also, I will mark what is the midpoint of this wick. Could be a potential important level. And now we can see we are quite stagnant inside the new big opening gap. Actually just repricing completely inside. We have a small fair value gap here, which might show us that we want to go down as we swept these small highs, but we haven't made the new all-time high, so I still do believe that we are going to reach higher. And I'm thinking if I maybe should even take a long here, because we have swept these lows and we repriced the new week opening gap as well, which could be a good opportunity to go long. But in my opinion, it's not that. Let's say I have right now, I have an option to go long. We are inside the 30 seconds fair value gap. We have swept these lows and I'm still favoring the highs. But I'm not sure if I want to go long right now. So my stop would be just down here. I mean, the model is still valid, but I'm not sure if this is so high quality. I'm feeling a bit FOMO right now. So this is how the gap would need to be. And this would need to be my stop. And I would target this if I could. I have still opportunity to go to buy, but I really don't know if I want to. If I would enter now, I think it's still fine with my rules, because when the fair value gap was created, the next candle traded inside. And just because we are still here, it doesn't mean the trade is invalid. If I would enter the trade, I will be still in. So it's just, let's say, me waiting for the trade to pan out. But I don't think it's that good. I don't want to take it. If it's going to be profitable, I'm going to be glad that I was able to identify it, but it's not that high quality, I think. It's not like, okay, now I want to go long. It really just might go lower. Even though this is my bias for today. And if I would enter, I will be probably stopped out in any minute. We have also New York Open in 5 minutes. So I do expect a lot of volatility in 5 minutes. I want to know the fair value gap. So the fair value gap is at 329.5. And the low is 32775. So this small fair value gap that I was thinking to go long from. So if I would enter, my stop would need to be directly here. So again, I still have opportunity to go long because it's still inside. The initial entry would be still valid. So I could enter even if I would take time. But I think if it's still trading inside for so long, I don't think it's valid for me. If I would be in the trade, I couldn't do anything for sure. Like close the trade prematurely. I wouldn't do it. And most of the time it even traded inside the drawdown. And if I have a trade on, I never close it early. I always rather let the stop being hit rather than be sad that it turned out, let's say, a few handles before the stop loss and then turn the other way, and I would be sad that it actually hit my TP, let's say, and I didn't hold it. But I don't like still this price action right here because we are just trading inside the new opening gap. So this is just something that I'm looking at. There was a potential, but I didn't want to take it. I will leave the fair value gap there. So let's just check the market, how it behaves until 9:30. Then what I assume will happen, we will go up and sweep this buy side liquidity. And then we will need to see what's going to happen. In my opinion, what is my bias, where I want to put my trades? I think I would go long. If at 9:30 we would not get this swept, that would be a good scenario, because then I would at least have a good target for potential profit taking if I want to go long. So let's say if this would be hit, or if we go to the consequent encroachment of this 830 wick, or even if we trade down here and take the sell side liquidity and we have a market structure shift, that would be really good to then looking for some longs. But I'm not very confident in any direction right now. So I will see if I will really see something that it's popping out. So far I see that we are trying to go lower, maybe sweeping this low. We were also respecting here the 50% of this fair value gap. So maybe we will get just a tiny sweep of this low right here. And then at 9:30 it might spike up. So I'm glad that I didn't take this trade. It really wasn't that high quality in my opinion. So ES is trading just now in the, this is actually 5-minute fair value gap, not 1 minute. Whereas NQ has a 5-minute gap, but it's just down here. And it's very, very tiny. We have already swept these highs, so we can maybe see NQ failing and not being able to sweep this high, but I don't think. I think we are going up. So in the next few seconds, we might see a sweep of this liquidity and then going higher. But I think this is in the next 30 seconds going to be cleared. Repricing just this new big opening gap. Let's see if this is going to be a sensitive level or if it reaches for the buy side liquidity all-time high. I think it might firstly take this just because we are so close and then sweep the buy side. But for sure this is in the next few to 10 minutes. I think I said a few seconds actually. Okay, so this was swept just a tiny bit, but it was. Now it was much more. And let's see if the market will now spike up to the new all-time high. I might try to look for a trade right here. Maybe I could do a turtle soup even in here. I still can. I don't believe that it will go lower from here. Let's say I would put the trade on, let's say here. I would put, let's say 15 maybe. If I was really aggressive. But that's not something that I'm doing, so I'm not going to even mark it. I'm not even that good with turtle soups, to be honest. It's really slowing down in this area. I think ES is starting to making a new highs. Similar price action. But we have some SMT here. So ES is actually trading in a 5-minute CB. Let me show it. Here we have a 5-minute CB. But this reaction, also the midpoint of the 5-minute fair value gap, is really nice. On the news, we have already swept this sell side liquidity. So we might just see now the higher prices. Trading again in the new week opening gap. Fortunately, I don't have any setup yet that I want to go long. I think the only opportunity was a turtle soup in case it will start going higher right now. I think we have also SMT on these lows, 931. Yeah, so ES actually was not able to make a new low on 931, but NQ did. So again, repricing only the new week opening gap and having a reaction here. So that's something that we need to note. There is also a 1-minute fair value gap, which was not yet violated. Still respecting those two levels. We might even draw back into this new day opening gap. But I just believe that this is going to be hit. It is slow, but I think it's going to happen real quick. But unfortunately, no setup for me to take. There is also this fair value gap that I'm seeing that could have acted as an inversion once we opened up, basically as we closed above it. And now we opened up, we traded inside it, and now it's going higher. I might get a gap somewhere around here, but I think that's too far. I don't know if I want to take it. It's at 33875 until 33225. Yeah, actually this one. This is how it looks. I think the gap is too far. But I might take it. I don't know. Oh, I will need to go with market. I think... Okay, let's try it. Oh, is it really that small? Or did I just do it wrong? Wait. So I entered on 32775. No, it was only 5 handles. Why did I get stopped out? Okay, I'm not going to re-enter. This is bad, but... I'm actually thinking to actually go short. just because we swept these highs. We had a displacement again. But I probably will not get opportunity to do it. And I will maybe target this new day opening gap. But maybe I will just leave it there. I lost $31, which is weird. I got stopped out on 5 handles. I don't know why. So we almost made the same low. So I actually can short it here, but I don't know if I want to. I think I was too slow. I was looking at the P&L. Yeah, I was too slow. I would already have my first target. And maybe I would just leave it at 20 handles. I'm quite disappointed that I didn't pay attention to this. I said I wanted to go short, but I was looking at something else at the time. And it's too far. But we have SMT with ES here. We repriced the fair value gap right now. Maybe I was even lucky that the trade got really messed up and I got a really small stop because I actually got saved 5 handles. So let's see, maybe we will have a setup formed around this area. Because I like the SMT on the lows, still favoring this. Even though I'm switching my buys all the time, but I'm just looking at how the market shows where it wants to navigate to. I don't want to go short anymore, as this was the only opportunity as these were swept. And we already swept this low, so that's the liquidity taken out. And I cannot position myself in a short anymore. I can only look for longs right now. Let's see if we get any fair value gap. But I just don't want it to run quickly. There might be a BC forming right now. There is still one more candle that needs to trade, and it might reprice the whole candle, like rebalance. $306.75. We have a fair value gap right here. We have also a higher fair value gap right here. But if it doesn't go to mine and just runs without me, I'm fine with it. There's just one tick fair value gap right here. But it might just run. It didn't yet trade it even in the higher fair value gap. And mine is created, and we had 1, 2, 3 candles. So if it doesn't go there in the next 2 candles, unfortunately it's no longer valid. And I'm not sure if I want to put my limit here because it's too high with my stop loss. Okay, so this one was repriced too already. But I would still like to draw down here. So I will allow one more candle. And if this in the next 30 seconds, if I'm not filled in, I will need to close the trade. Unfortunately, trade is invalid for me. I could have potentially taken this, as there is also the 1 minute fair value gap. But in an NFP day, I would rather require more and more of a safe entry. So ES is almost making the new all-time high again. It's just one handle exactly off. And Q would be very close to my entry right now. 307 right here. I'm thinking if I want to try it or not. I think it's outside of my rule, so I shouldn't probably. I really wanted to end the day with a positive trade, but it can be that I just don't have the opportunity to do it. So I would be tapped in right now. But I don't want to do it. I'm seeing that we have respected the new week opening gap, the midpoint. We have maybe just swept these highs, went lower, now repricing back to the new week opening gap, respecting the 50%, and now it might just go lower. But so far the trade looks okay. So the entry would be here, 307. And yeah, I would already have the position covered. ES has made new all-time high, whereas NASDAQ is still to follow. As we swept this low, I might look for another entry here at 327.25. Wait, what? I'm entered? I'm already entered in profit. But I don't understand why. Why is my entry here? Okay, so let's say I would be tapped in. But this is really strange. The price was here, I entered on limit, and it entered me basically on my limit and already in like 10 or 20 handles in profit. I don't understand why. It's first time that this happened to me. But okay. At this high, I'm going to cover probably one. At this high, yeah, I'm going to cover here. And this is how I will manage it. Did we make the same high? Oh, I put it wrong. Jesus. Hopefully it will run. Okay. First one is done. And we have this one. Hopefully now we will see just straight movement to the upside. ES has made a new all-time high and I'm demanding from NQ to do the same. So hopefully we will see that. I want at least this one taken out. I might lower it. I don't want to demand so much. Actually, I just want to maybe close the entire thing. Let's see. My patience. You can see that my patience is really bad. Once it's just a few ticks or just two handles off, it's really painful to watch. Didn't it touch? Okay, it got filled. That's really good. I'm going to close this one. I'm actually in a lot of profits. I'm going to move it here. I'm thinking that I would close the entire position. I think I will do this. Or maybe at the low of the fair value gap. I might mismanage the trade, but I'm thinking to close the entire thing. I mean, it's still showing that it wants to go higher, but I just don't like how it slowly is trying to go back, reprices, go back. I would like these kind of candles. But I mean, you will not get it all the time. It's not always that pretty how market reprices. So let's see. Let's give it a while. But I would already think that the market would take out this high already. I wouldn't expect the market for 20 minutes after market open and it still hasn't been taken out. But let's try to be patient and let's see if we can get this liquidity. I'm thinking that this is maybe all that NQ can do. Because we have now big SMT with ES. ES has already made the new high. NQ is just hesitant to go higher. I think my stop is gonna be hit. Really slow around here. After it took the buy side liquidity here, it started really slowing down here. After these two highs. I'm really thinking that I will just close it. It still just tries to go higher, but then retraces back. Tries to go higher, retraces back. So let's see if we can get the last push in this next few minutes. We have just made a new high again. And we just want to see big candles right now. And I wouldn't want it to go down here at all. I might move my stop here actually. I'm getting impatient. I think I will just close it. It's still teasing me that it wants to go higher, then no. I will just probably close it. If it turns out that it goes there, it's fine, but I just want to secure my profits in case it doesn't do it. I have made today 145 USD. So actually, I entered the first trade where I got really saved because my stop wasn't hit in full. I was just stopped on 5 handles, which was around 34 or something. So we actually have made profit of 145. I was thinking that I would just do one trade today, but as I saw the opportunity and also that we have not yet made the new high, I think it's very, very easy point of interest to believe the market will go there after we have taken out this low again. So we can see that the market is slowly building up there. I just didn't like this price action. Like if it goes up here, takes out these highs and takes around 5 minutes just to move slightly higher, I just didn't like it, so I rather exit the position. But as you can see, this will be the target will be met in just the next minute. Unfortunately, just my patience failed me here, but I still made profit. I made money. Unfortunately, I went into a trade which I think was too far from where I should have entered, because we already have swept these highs. After the sell side liquidity was swept, we went down, took out this low, then we went up, and we took out these highs, and I tried to enter afterwards. And I think that was the problem. That invalidated the trade, and I shouldn't have done that. So then what happened? We had another drop. We have another sweep of this low. So we have swept this low right now. And then we moved back to the new week opening gap. We then retraced lower. And I had the opportunity to go long here, which I wanted. But here I think I would get stopped out. Actually, no, I would be entered, because I wanted to enter somewhere around here. But it was outside of the amount of candles that I wanted. But I actually noticed that if the market is really strongly bullish, we didn't quite take out any significant sell-side liquidity with this price move, because that was done on this price move right here. But as this was already purged, I didn't believe that it will go again lower, or demand for it to go much lower in order to look for a good setup. This was really good that at least some low was violated. And then we have repriced higher, and I had a fair value gap, I think 327.25. So over here I had the fair value gap. I was entered. The enter of the fair value gap was really weird, because I put my limit once it was up here and I got filled. I have still no idea how that happened, but the price did go down there. So maybe I was just predicting future. I don't know. So it went down into my entry. The drawdown was one handle, or maybe one handle and one tick. So almost zero, just barely any drawdown. It was just the price move to basically take my position in, and then it went straight up. So we took out immediately after 1 or 2 minutes our first scalings. And then the price did slow down for some time, which I didn't like. So I closed the entire position, I think. So over here, 359. So this was my last exit. So most of my position I closed out at this level, even though I wanted to hold it until here, which was another almost 20 handles, but it's fine. I'm glad that I actually, even after I took this loss, this premature entry, I'm glad that I was able to identify why I made this wrong, and I was able to follow my rules for this one, even though this one was a good trade. Don't get me wrong, this was even better than this one, because it would result in a much higher reward. So my entry would be here. This one had also like almost none drawdown. This is very small, like 2.5 handles. And this would result in a 71 handle profit, which is amazing as well. But I mean, my trade was not bad as well. 327. I don't have it highlighted, so I need to all the time check it. 327, 25. So this was my trade. So my trade could maximum reward. My trade could maximum. I don't know how to talk. So the maximum potential for this trade could have been 51 handles and 1 tick, which is really, really good risk to reward. You can see it's a 5 risk to reward ratio. Unfortunately, I was not able to hold it. I was not that good with my patience, because 2 of my entries I exited here, and if I would exit 2 here, the profit would be much different. But still, I'm glad I took it. I was able to make profits, even in a day which is, I think, really difficult. Even that, I think, is the reason why the market was that slow. So you can see these are the only trades that I've taken today on this account. So today we are up again 145 with premature loss of around 34. I don't know, I don't see it. So this trade resulted around 180 profit. But just because I took the loss, it's 145. So now in total profits for the week, we have $1,301. So during this week, we have made so much profit. Every single day that I've traded have ended up in a profit, in a positive day. And I'm so close to making a payout, which is insane. I'm really glad that I'm just following rules. This trade wasn't even that bad. It's just I should have demanded more. So maybe that's something to work on with my patience. And also these exits are also something to work with my patience. So I don't have rules for patience yet. That's something that I for sure will need to work on. But I'm glad it's not something with a strategy. I'm actually following the strategy. I'm seeing the entire week that the strategy really works. I'm able to identify those trades pretty easy. The only thing that is quite difficult about this strategy is that you need to decide and focus on the markets really a lot. And the deciding factor of whether you want to take the trade or not needs to be fast. Because I'm looking at a 30 seconds chart, and if there is a fair value gap that is formed after there is any liquidity sweep, either on the upside or downside, I really need to quickly decide if I want to take it or not. Because most of the time you see, let's say here is a 1 minute fair value gap, right? Let me delete this. So let's say here we have a 1 minute fair value gap, which could be easily used. It was multiple times repriced, which was a very nice area based on this to go long. This would also result in a nice profit of 30 handles. But my stop would be really like, I don't even know where I would need to put it, probably somewhere around here. So it would not even be that good of a risk to reward. But the thing is that I wanted to mention basically is that on this 1 minute fair value gap, we can see it touched it 3 times. And I don't know how much the candle spends the time in there, but with the 30 seconds fair value gap, most of the time, let's say in here, you just get the reprice that it just goes down and back up in like 2 seconds. So if you don't even have your limit there, and if you would enter a market, you would get slipped. You would not even get it inside the fair value gap. So that's really tough about this strategy, that you really need to focus and take those entries fast. Otherwise, it will run without you, or you will need to enter a market and you will have a different entry than what you would want to do. And many times it's even easy for me to say in hindsight when I see some fair value gaps that there was a good opportunity to go short or long, that I could have taken this entry, but sometimes I don't even, let's say, I think there was one that I was mentioning that I wanted to take, but just didn't have the time to look at it. I'm not sure if it was here to go short. It might be here, I don't know, I will check the recording afterwards and I will see for myself at least that where I wanted to take it. And that was one of the, let's say, cases where really if I don't pay attention and I don't focus and I don't decide really fast, the trade might just run without me. So let me just put back the trade that I've done. I'm quite not satisfied with my performance in terms of the exits, because that's something that I really want to master as well, because that's not something that I'm used to. And if I'm being honest with you, what I'm doing in other cases or other times, I'm exiting the trade after 10 or 15 handles immediately. Like, I'm not getting moves like this at all. Like, these trades that I'm doing this week are crazy to me that I'm able to do that. Because this is the first time that I'm really following rules. I'm really strict with my strategy, and I'm not trying to try anything else. I'm just focusing on one thing, and it's really interesting how it really works if you just put in the work and if you are really serious about it. So I really want to see how I will perform also next week, just because I already made 1,300 in this week. I don't expect that I will do the same tomorrow. The next week. I don't expect to do the same. I can maybe make more, surely, but I can make much less, and I'm okay with that. Even if I have a losing day and I will leave it there, that's fine for me as well. The thing what I want to do is I want to find consistency in the way that I'm trading right now. I want to really focus on how I trade, be responsible, be focus driven, and really stick to this. I was even thinking that I will maybe change some things about my risk management. So let's say also about the leverage that I'm using. Probably next week I will start again with 10 micros, but maybe I will not. And maybe I will just stick to 5 micros. Because again, today I started with 3. I got stopped out, so I had a losing trade, even though it was a half of my risk that I'm using. But I still was able to make, if I didn't count the losing trade, I would make almost 200. If I would hold it, it would be almost 200. And in my opinion, that's completely enough. That's not even enough. That's a lot. Because if I can make this consistently on one account, that's really a good risk to reward. And if I can scale it, it would just pile up and it would be amazing. So that's something what I want to do. Hopefully next week I will be able to do the same. And yeah, that's the plan. So next week is just to do the same process, do the same performance, not do anything stupid, demand a lot from the price action. And let's see, maybe next week. Next week is on Friday, it's 15th. So that's a really good time, because on 15th is the first day when you can request the payout. So basically, if next week I will enter every single day a trade, I will make the rule for 10 trading days that I need to do. So now today we have made the 5th, so I have still 5 more to do. So at the end of the next week, we are probably able to make a withdrawal. But let's see what will be the performance. If I made this week 1,300, I just need 300 more, and I'm eligible for the payout. So let's see how will I perform and if I will be able to do it. For me, it would be really, really nice if I can do it with such a good process-oriented way, and I documented everything as well. It would be quite a good milestone for me that I was able to do that. And maybe I will start scaling in, that I will purchase more accounts and try to do more at the same time. But I might take it slow, that I will try to do the payout if I'm able to. Then maybe try to go for a second one And if I'm able to do the second one, then I will try to scale in. But that's a discussion for later. So right now, coming back to the price action, we can see that the market made a new all-time high and we went up almost another 40 handles. So for me, there is no more trades. It's in a condition that it's an NFP day. We have already swept sell-side liquidity, and then we have made a new all-time high. In ES, we are doing the same thing, and I'm not sure if the market will start retracing and it will go down to sweep this low or maybe this one. That's really tough for me to say because we can't predict what is the all-time high going to be created. As it is Friday, you might expect some retracement as well. But on the weekly chart, we can see that the wick was, or the candle was still like down close over here. Like I think it's called undecisive candle. Not sure. And now we are going back up again, respecting the 50% of this down close candle. I'm seeing there is a 30-second fair value gap which is touched right now. If this is the high of NQ right now, this is where I could potentially take a short. So I'll just try to maybe check if this is really something which could potentially be a viable trade. So the gap was 675, and the top of the it's 409. Okay. So if I would want to try to go short, I think it would be already hitting my stop loss. But as I said, in such conditions, when it's doing all-time highs, you just cannot predict when it's going to go down. You just don't know what's going to be the high of this day. So for me, I wouldn't be even confident to take now any longs because I don't know when it can retrace. But also I cannot take any shorts because I don't know until when it's going to just keep ramping up. So probably I'm just going to look at the market. I will just let the recording play. I will again try to tape read this until 10:30. And maybe if I will see any market structure shifts, I will try to note it. If we can even find any possibility for retracing lower. But in my opinion, this might just run the whole time. So let's just not demand more from the price action. I'm glad we were able to identify something and take out something from the market. So let's see what we can see more in NASDAQ. I'm looking at the market right now that we have SMT with ES on these lows, and there is a small BC right here where we already repriced. So I'm not sure if this was maybe one opportunity where you could go long, but as I said, we are already making all-time highs, and it's really difficult for me to say when it's going to start going down or to where it can just reach as an all-time high during this day. So I was noting that there was SMT with ES on these highs, and there was a 30-second fair value gap right here. So this was potentially an opportunity to go short. I'm not sure if I would even cover something. So this would need to be my first point of interest to cover something, or maybe I would probably put it on this low. But I'm not even sure if we will get that because ES already did that, and if we have an SMT over there, we might just go higher. And also, I think this low that NQ just taken out, I think ES has not done that. Yeah, has not done that. So this is very difficult area for me to think or try to guess where the market can go. Based on the candles, how they are closing, I think it might start going down because also on the 1 minute, it closed inside the fair value gap. It did violate it, but just wicked through. So I think that's completely fine. And we are still trying to go lower here. ES is already going even lower, making a new low from this price range, let's say. And NQ might just follow and go down for this low as well. So let's see if that's what's going to happen. So the candle also closed down right here. So I think the next candle also will draw lower, as we can see here. So this one, I assume, will be swept in the next two candles, and maybe even in this one. I don't believe that we will even reprice back up here. But I think I was wrong. So very tough price action. We can see that in this price range, we have traded already 20 minutes almost, which is not good. If you want to find a high quality setup, I don't think this is the place where you look for it. As this move that happened was like 100 and almost 150 handles almost, I don't think you should look for more. If you didn't get in this price move, I think you shouldn't look for anything else. And maybe if someone even tried to go short here, I think that was also a possibility. Depending on what kind of trader you are, I wouldn't be able to do that just few handles before the all-time high. I think that was really the only point of interest for me for this session. And gladly we did take a trade, and we did had a good read on price where I can look for the buys. Unfortunately, the market went down once more, so I got stopped out right here. But still, I was able to get in that move, and we were able to close out profits on it. Just I need to work on my patience and my exits. Let me remove this 30 seconds and this fair value gap. So we have still 3.5 minutes that I want to review the price. So let's see what will happen from this point on, but we might just consolidate here. Or it will start just slowly building down or slowly going up. It's hard for me to say, as it's just coming back to the fair value gap and trading around the all-time high that just made. So you see, this is all just back and forth trading. Not really good if you are in a position already. So I would just say, really, if you are not yet in a position or already have made profits, this is not where you try to look for more. This is where we need to be content with enough. Even if I have made profits and if I have another opportunity to look for a trade, I would not. In a day like this, NFP day, it's Friday. I think we should all be content with what we have made. Preserve the capital. Even though I have made just a small win, it's still quite considerable compared to the other ones. I think my first trading day was around 80 USD. So this is even much more. So I'm really happy with today. I was thinking that I would actually end the day with a losing trade, which I've done, but I pushed for another trade just because the trade was not closed in a full stop. Because of that, I tried to look for another one. But if I would be stopped on a full amount of handles that I always do, I think I would not go for another one. But just because it was just a small one, like $30, 34, I don't remember. I was thinking that I can try for another one. So we have 1 more minute to go. NQ is now taking out its highs and maybe potentially making a new all-time high. So looking at, in hindsight, of course, looking at ES and NASDAQ, we can see we were sweeping these lows, but we were not able to take this one out. If we check ES, ES has made the low here and actually swept another one here. And NQ was not able to do the same. So we had the SMT on the lows. And when we check NQ, once this low was formed, that it took out this one, we had a 30-second fair value gap right here. So let me mark it. 407.75. And the low is 406.5. So very small fair value gap. But if you would be considering the SMT divergence, and if you would not require NQ to sweep this low, I think this was an opportunity for a continuation trade. Where your stop loss would be right here, under this low. If you would not require this one, I think it's okay stop. I'm not sure if I'm not saying it's a perfect one, but I think it's an okay stop. And targeting this high right here for 20 handles is still 2-to-1, which is a good risk to reward. And over here, even myself, I would cover most of my position, and then I could maybe hold for maybe 3-to-1 or 4-to-1, depending on where the NQ wants to draw to. If it wants to go that much higher, or if we are going to make a new high, just let's say 30, 40, 50 handles above the previous all-time high. We have also a 1 minute fair value gap right here. Respecting also the 50%, but it might go deeper even. So looking at ES, we were not able to make the new high. It didn't even sweep this high right here. So there is a lot of SMT on each side, which for me really is just tough condition. And really, if you weren't in any position prior to this move, it's just, in my opinion, just too late. So I will probably not look on the charts anymore. I think this is pretty much enough for me. I don't think I will see anything more interesting in here, as we have already made the all-time high, and that would be very difficult to predict what can happen next. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, anything on your mind, and I will see you next week in the next trading session.